Coming up in Septic Series Part 2, Colin and Jimmy welcome Lakeland Septic Company to discuss key day-to-day information that homeowners want to know. Is your toilet gurgling? Find out why and what to do. How often should you get that tank pumped, really? And if you have the stomach for it, find out some of the weirdest things that have ended up in septic tanks.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs, your home improvement and remodeling podcast, where the two most entertaining guys discuss the do's and don'ts in home construction and in the remodeling industry. Remember that you can nail it, paint it, or just tune into the show. How about that? Here are your hosts, Colin Shaw and Jimmy Driscoll.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs. Hello, Jimmy.
How are you?
I'm good, you?
I'm awesome.
All right. I don't know if I believe you or not.
Well, you have to.
I do.
It's a beautiful Tuesday out here.
Yeah.
Our guest doesn't care about our weather because he has it like this all the time.
Yeah, he's got beautiful
He's
weather
in
all the
Florida.
time.
We're at night. We got we got stuff.
We get excited at 56 degrees.
I go. Where did we go today?
Woo!
63, 64 maybe?
I don't think we even reached 60 here on the
Legend
shore.
was
Oh, yeah, maybe inland a little
nice
bit.
and
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah, they're supposed to get up to almost 70, I think, tomorrow or the next day.
Nice.
So, yeah, you got to drive
Nice.
inland a little bit. Get off of the water here where we are.
Well, our guest is in Florida.
Yes, he is. So last
Nice.
week we had a septic engineer and designer on.
Right.
So we decided, we learned all about the perfect way to set up a system and where it goes and all that other fun stuff and testing, soil testing and leach fields, and we learned a bunch of stuff. So now we want to talk to the guy who deals with it on a daily basis.
That's right.
The guy who's out
today
in
we'll
the
be
field.
sitting on the edge of our seat.
Absolutely. We
Learning
know there's
all
going to be some
about
good stories and a lot of information. So let's welcome Josh. Josh is from Lakeland Septic Company. And like we said, he's in Florida. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're doing well. Thank
We're
you.
good.
Yourself.
We're recently up here on the East Coast, we've been dealing with, Colin and I have been hearing a lot of stories or just dealing with a lot of septic problems because people are trying to sell their houses up here because the market's so crazy and there's been septic issues. So it's really good that you're on the show because our listeners will be very interested to hear, the do's, the don'ts, or the goods or the bads, and, how to take care of or whatever we're going to talk about today about septic systems.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my company is about a year and a half old
Nice.
Wow.
right now. But I've been doing it since I was a kid. So just decided, I worked with my dad for a while and decided that I wanted to do my own thing. So I started my own business.
So you compete against your dad now?
Is that what it is?
We do not compete. No.
All right.
Honestly, it works out for the best because if you get a crazy, one of those jobs that I'll call him and warn him, or he'll call me and say, hey, if this person calls, don't go out there.
No.
So it works out.
Going, buddy.
We get that. I wish I had somebody looking out for me like that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
I seem to find them on my own.
we didn't plan that, but it definitely happened that way. So,
Nice. And I'm sure he wishes you all the luck and success.
oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
of course.
Nice.
Fathers and sons, it's either hit or miss. They all work really good together, or it's
Yep.
just like, you dig the hole.
Yeah.
You're my son. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
we worked really well together, but it was just it was a work relationship. So that was part of my reasoning.
Yeah.
Just
No, it makes sense.
didn't want to have a work relationship with my dad. So
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that makes sense. That makes
right.
sense. Well, good for you. So whereabouts are you in Florida?
I am in Lakeland, which is dead center pretty much between Tampa and Orlando.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I'm about 30 minutes from Tampa and maybe 45 from Orlando. Really
Nice.
about 2 hours from Orlando with traffic, but
Yeah, right.
it
Right.
should be about 45.
All right.
Right? Crazy.
Nice. And what's the weather like down there today?
Oh, today is about, right now it's about 80 degrees. So
Right.
it was 60 yesterday, 60 the day before, and now it'll be 90 tomorrow. So that's Florida.
There you go.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm in.
So let me just jump in a little bit here on the whole septic system. Where you are, in actually some places where we are here, do you deal with a high water table where you are? Actually,
Oh yeah,
Lakeland?
a lot. Most
Yeah.
Okay.
actually, most jobs.
So how do you deal with that? Is it mostly pipe and stone that you use the old traditional way, or do you have new systems that you use? Or
No,
septic?
I don't think there's anybody around here that uses rock and pipe anymore. I
Oh, really?
personally only use chambers.
Okay.
There are some guys that use it's called stack or 9 pipe, 11 pipe, some places, but it's that same corrugated pipe, but they put 11 or 9 of them together, zip tie them, and that kind of creates the same effect that the rock made.
Huh.
I'm not a fan of it. They also have something called Easy Flow that is the corrugated pipe with styrofoam around it. So
Okay.
Wow.
that's the same effect that the rock gave as well. I'm just not a fan of those, so I use chamber.
So
Only
what's your reason?
chamber.
What's your reason for not being a fan?
Well, I'm not a fan of corrugated pipe
Mhm.
at all. The 1 inch
Okay.
holes every foot. If a root gets in that 1 inch hole, which roots are always going to find septic.
Right.
No matter how far away that tree is. So, to me, it's just. I always tell people it's like the flip phone versus iPhone. So
Okay.
chambers just are so wide open. There's so much ventilation, bottom, the sides. There's just a lot of room when the root does find it, because it is. The
Mhm.
water can go all kinds of different places in a chamber versus the corrugated pipe stuff. And I've seen a lot of the failed systems be the stack and the easy flow. Easy flow is a nightmare. If you run into a
Really?
job with that stuff that you have to repair, and once you hit it, there's styrofoam all over the yard. So
Oh no.
that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So
It sounds
easy
like
for-
it.
We have a system up here. I mean, and I'm going back 20 years now, and I'm sure it's different. It was a system called Infiltrator. They
Mhm.
had it here in Old Saybrook. Remember that?
Yep. The
And that
company's
was
still
like,
around.
was that a chamber system that was like,
I do not know the answer to that.
it was like these cones that they put into the ground, and it was like for certain, it all dealt with certain areas of like high water tables and things like that. I guess the reason why I'm bringing all this up too is because that's what we seem to be dealing with, right? And
Mhm.
we've been dealing
Definitely.
systems that are, and also systems that are like 30 or 40 years old.
Mhm.
What, Josh? What's your take on that? The expectancy of a septic system. What do you think? If the conditions are right, you have trees that are very, very far away. What do you think? How long do you think they last?
Well, I would say average 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Certain perfect conditions, they go longer. So,
Yeah.
Right.
but on
And-
average, I would say 20 to 30.
And what's going to make them last longer?
Pumping them.
What are your tips?
Pumping them.
them.
Pumping them.
That was the same thing we heard from the engineer.
Yeah.
Pump them
And
every
how
4
often?
years.
How often?
How often?
We say 3 to 5 years. The state of Florida
Okay.
does.
Yeah.
And it really just depends. If the older the system gets, the more often you should do it. The more people you have in the house, the more often you should do it.
Okay.
Things like that.
All right. So get rid of the wife and you don't have to pump your
I'm
system as well.
I got a pump.
There you go. There you go.
The house was built in 1970. We've been pumping it every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You're way due, right?
I am way overdue. Yes. I don't know what it is. I should know better. I don't. I finally scheduled one though, so it's on the 30th of this month. So I'm getting my tank pumped.
Well,
And I'm sure I'm going to hear bad news, which I'm not excited about. So, yeah.
So, Josh, your soil, you deal with a lot of sand. So you have topsoil. How many, like 4, 5, 6 inches, and then you hit sand. Is that what usually it is, or is it different?
There are some places here that it's sand from the grass down. I mean,
Wow.
it's sand. We have a few spots with clay. There's obviously in the wetter areas you have muck that you get into, but for the most part, it's some kind of sand, whether it be perfect sand or it be a loamy clay mixed with sand. There's always some kind of sand.
So the soil is usually pretty good then for what you do.
Oh yeah. The only
Okay.
issue we really deal with is the high water table.
Yeah. So do you stick with one system itself, but they all change because of the of the water table and the soil? Is that what it is? Is that why they do change the systems?
Well, yeah. Well, like in the city I actually live in, Lakeland, for instance, you have the north end of town is very wet. The south end of town, there's no such thing as a water table. So you can do a job on the south side and it's completely in ground. and you have perfect soil, sand all the way down. The north side of town, the more north you go, closer, we call it the green swamp here. The closer you get to that, they are mountains in people's yards.
Wow.
To where you can't even mow that. You can't even drive a mower up the side of them. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, they get big.
So what do you do? How do you combat that stuff? My neighbor up in New Hampshire has a lot of granite, had ledge, everything else, and they put his leach field so far away, but it was higher. It was higher than the tank, so they had to do a pump system. They had to pump uphill to the leach system. Have you ever had to do something like that?
Yeah, I would say 50 to 60% of our jobs. How we do it is we bring in sand, trucks and stuff like that. We build up. Sometimes you might be 20 inches above grade where the bottom of your drain field starts, and then you have your drain field, and then you have all the cover. So you build a mound around that. You're basically building a place for that septic water to drain and stay away from the groundwater.
Right. All right. So if you have if you're doing a family of 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, sandy bottom, basically, or it's dry, how long does it take a septic system to go in? Would you say?
Man, I can install a drain field in 2 hours.
Man.
Yeah.
How would you like to come to Connecticut?
Jeez.
I don't want to.
No.
I know some guys
very
up
wise
there.
man on Skype.
I'm with you.
Very wise man on Skype.
Yeah, I know guys up there that do it. I feel for them.
Yeah. I mean, it takes 4 to 5 days to do a full system.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
there are some systems, the mounds that I'm talking about, those are 4 or 5 days. But that includes covering it and all that stuff. Inspections, that's a whole day itself. So
Really?
yeah, Florida doesn't really have that part down yet.
Okay, gotcha.
The health department's
Now,
on
who do
fun.
you? All right, now who do you deal with? Like up here, we have the sanitarian, and also like a health district or something along those lines. What do you guys have down there?
Well, we're all governed by the state. The state
Yep.
has its county offices, which, for whatever reason, we're all governed by this. We all have the same rule book, but each county has kind of their own things that they like and they don't like. So I only work in 2 counties. That's another thing that's great about here is that the population and there's so many people on septic that I don't have to go around to a bunch of different places to work.
Nice.
So I know a lot of people up north do.
Yeah.
Is the population like nuts now? Are you guys like getting booked with more and more people from out of state coming in for the
traffic's
season?
Ridiculous.
That's why I won't move there.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't move there.
Yeah, it's tough. You get a lot of the snowbirds that come down there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's and Lakeland actually is like Amazon is here now. So it's getting absolutely ridiculous. Houses, you can list a house and in a day it's sold.
Oh yeah. Same thing here.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a buyer's market.
Yeah, it's good anyways. So all right, so you get to a house, you need to pump the system, you don't know where the septic is, the customer doesn't know where the septic is. What do you do?
First thing I do is look for the big vent pipe on the roof.
Yep.
Look for obviously some signs on the ground itself. There's usually some kind of divot or something like that to where it's been dug up before.
Okay.
But if none of that's there, you can always, and here tanks are usually within 5 to 10 feet away from the house.
Yep.
So you can always find it off the vent pipe somewhere.
Okay. So you look maybe downstairs in the basement too, looking for the pipe leaving the house.
You look for that. We don't have basements here, but.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. That's interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
They got termites.
So you got to go off the vent pipe. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Or
cool.
the clean out, like you're saying, but not all houses have a clean out coming out of the side of the house. So they'll be buried or, they're just so old that they didn't put them in back then.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it's really just, it depends on what house you're pulling up to.
I think I have the last cesspool in New Hampshire. I got a big old 600 gallon cesspool that I
Really?
still have. That's what I'm trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
My septic guy is supposed to be in. He was supposed to be in last year, so I'm just waiting on my job. He can't get any excavating guys to go over there and do the job. We're so busy over there in New Hampshire. They're booming and building right now. It's crazy. It's nuts up there. Same like down there. Everything is just gone. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a funny story to tell you, Josh. I got a buddy of mine who moved down to Florida, and now I'm kicking myself in the ass because I can't remember what town he's in. So he's building his house, and he's out in his backyard in the morning, right? And he's looking because where they're going to put the septic system in. The guys are going to be there like in a few hours or so. And he hears this rustling, and a wild boar comes out. Big wild boar, right? And he's like, oh, my God. He has nowhere to go, right? The thing is like looking him down, right? He's like, oh, my God, this thing's going to ram me. So he looks at it and he goes, what a good boy. And the freaking thing sits down. It actually sat down. And it was like looking at him and it wagged its tail. And he's like, oh, my good boy. And the freaking thing finally just snorted and took off. Oh, my God. You must see a lot of wildlife down. Do you see any of that stuff down there when you're there working?
There are a ton of hogs.
Really?
He's lucky because they can tear you up.
Yeah.
If they want
think.
to.
Yeah. He's scared to death. What a good boy.
What else you run into over in Lakeland?
Snakes.
Snakes.
Gators, snakes, yeah.
Really?
That's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of deer just running around here or anything like that. Some spots. I mean, I've seen deer on jobs before, but not most of the time it's a gator, a snake, some kind of hawk or eagle, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thinking maybe you're getting ready to dig a hole and you look over off the side of your machine. There's a gator there or a hog or something like that. Looking at you.
So what do you do? Just sit in the truck and wait for him to leave?
Yeah.
No, see here we're not afraid of gators down here. It's just normal for us.
Crazy.
Yeah, right.
It's just normal.
So what do you do with them? You shoo them off? You just work around them? What do you do?
Belt and shoe.
I mean, you're not going to work close to it, but
right.
Yeah. I mean, I've only ran into a gator one time on a job, and it was a long time ago. And all I really wanted to do was catch it. But you get in a lot of trouble doing that, so messing around with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're protected. I mean, for the most, there's hunting. We have a hunting season. It's very sought at. Like to get that permit, you're on a waiting list and stuff like that.
Wow.
If you got, I mean, you'd be crazy to just mess. That's the thing is, we're not afraid of them because we know as long as you don't mess with them, they're not going to attack you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't bring your dog to work.
We're a bunch of dumb Yankees.
Yeah.
We're a bunch of dumb Yankees up here. We don't know. Right. We're just like, gator.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We complain about deer.
Yeah. We got a deer problem.
Yeah. Eating all our bushes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had a deer problem.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty tame. There's nothing to be too afraid of a deer. Except the ticks.
Any horror stories in your septic system library you got?
Horror story. I mean, I have some that I can't even talk about.
Okay.
But
how about the weirdest thing you found in a tank?
I've never found anything weird, but we did get asked. One time me and my brother were pumping the lady's tank, and she kept asking if we found any dead chickens in there. And she just kept asking, and it was almost like she had been throwing chickens down there, and she was just wondering when we were going to find it. So we didn't find it, but we also didn't look. So.
Who was more surprised, you or her, that you didn't find any?
We just wanted out of there. Some people just creep you
out.
out.
One of those.
That's the thing about that's the thing about this kind of job is you run into all these people and you run into a lot of weird people.
Oh, sure.
So, I think my dad has sucked up a cat before. He got stuck in the end of his hose.
Oh,
out of the tank.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the cat was dead.
Yeah, but how do you get the cat in the tank?
Man, how does any of this stuff get in the tank?
Right.
Baseballs, towels. Some of the stuff that gets flushed and makes it to a tank is insane because
I can't even imagine it gets through the pipe.
Those Clorox wipes? Those Clorox wipes? You can wipe them. I don't know
Yeah.
why this woman thought she could flush them. So I get a phone call from the woman's house I'm working on because she rents it out. She goes, I got water backing up into the house. So she called the septic guy. I actually have pictures of it. And it was those Clorox like handy wipes off the sink, the blue ones.
Yep.
And the woman would use them and she'd flush them.
Huh.
And she flushed them and she flushed them and she flushed them. And we got to the tank, the chamber. It was like, oh my God, what is that? It was like, what is it? And we were pulling them up. I'm like, oh my God, it's all these towels. Well, they were backed all the way up to all the way through the septic system, all the way into the house.
Oh, man.
So they had to get a machine, right, and just blow it out, suck it out, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Incredible. Do you guys do that too? Clean pipe out from the house?
No, I mean, I don't. I personally don't even pump tanks.
Oh, so you just build?
I just do drain fill. My dad ruined me. That's all I did for 14 years was pump tanks for him.
Yeah.
So once I started my own business and I was able to market it to where I don't have to do that, I don't do it. But the wipes, they say flushable on the pack and this and that, and they're the absolute worst thing you can put in your tank.
Yeah,
Are
really.
flushable wipes by far. Grease and flushable wipes.
Grease too,
because they actually bond together once they get in the tank, and they just make just one big giant wipe. So it'll cost you a lot of money. You have to bring out a machine and take the top of the lid off and get them out that way because the truck won't suck them up. You can't get them in that way. You got to actually physically get them out of the tank.
Right. Huh. Can I ask you this one other question? Because some people have asked me about it too. It was so controversial. And in trying to upkeep your system, like you say, you flush it or you pump it out every 3 or 4 years. Rid-X used to be really big up here. Do you believe in that and Rid-X and stuff like that? Like grease eating stuff, or you say, no, don't use it. Some septic guys say, nah, don't use it. It's garbage. Some guys say, what I'm saying also, is there stuff that you would suggest that you put in as far as treatment goes into your septic system to eat the fat and the grease that's in your holding chamber?
I have never seen anything that will eat grease. As far as Rid-X goes, though, I mean, I've seen Rid-X work. I know even some guys here tell people not to use it, that it doesn't work, waste of money. I always say that it's commercialized, so they make it weak. So that one box of Rid-X that you buy, that's I believe if you buy a box of Rid-X, it's 3 doses. If you were to use that whole box, it's not going to hurt it. There's no such thing as too much bacteria in your tank. So I always just suggest put the whole $10 box or whatever it is now in there. It's not going to hurt. All it could do is help. And I've seen it work. I mean, I've even seen the Dollar General brand stuff work in somebody's tank. It really is all about the homeowner and what they're doing inside.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're doing things that are causing a really bad buildup of solids and all that in your tank, then nothing's going to work.
My septic guy told me, and I try to tell this to customers too, use one ply toilet paper. When you put it in the water, it dissolves in the glass. That's what you really want in your septic system, is the 1 ply. And some people just want to wipe their ass with the 2 ply or 3 ply.
Yeah.
I'm not going 1 ply.
See, me neither.
What's wrong
me
with
neither.
you?
Yeah.
And I have trouble telling someone to do that when I won't do it.
Yeah.
And if you're having your tank pumped like you should, then all that stuff's going to come out. It's going to break down. So, it's going to break. The idea, what you want to happen is all the solids come in, they kind of float around on top, and bacteria eats that stuff away. So that's where adding an additive like Rid-X comes into to play. Is it's going to help break it down faster. What's left falls to the bottom, starts building up a sludge layer at the bottom, and that's what you're wanting to pump out every 3 to 5 years, is get rid of that. Because if it builds up, then your tank exit is here, and the sludge builds up to where it'll start going out to the drain field, causing damage there.
Then you got a problem. Right.
Oh yeah.
Now,
pricey.
Now, we always hear the debate back and forth here. Garbage disposal, if you're on a septic, yay or nay?
My father-in-law just texted this to me yesterday asking me this question.
All right.
I always say no.
Okay.
Because nobody knows how to hold back. It's not, garbage disposal is not made to empty the pot. It's made to just scrape off the plate. But
Right.
most people empty the pot off in it. And especially with newer systems with a filter,
Yeah.
it's going, those little tiny particles that the garbage disposal sends out
Yeah.
are going to get into that filter.
Okay.
And you're going to think you have a big issue, and really it's just that little piece. So that needs sprayed off.
Yeah.
So I always just say no. If you're on septic, stay away from a garbage disposal, because nobody can. It seems like nobody is able to just empty the pot in the trash can. They just empty it in the
Right.
sink.
Right.
I got a question for you. Maybe you can answer this for me, Josh. Can you do a septic tank or a septic test, see if it works correctly, or you don't do that kind of stuff? Have you ever had to do that, or like see if it's working correctly?
Yeah, we do inspections all the time.
Yeah.
Especially like you were saying a lot of problems are popping up because of home sales. For the most part, down here, that's required.
Tier 2.
If you're selling a home, you got to get the septic inspected. And the correct way to do a septic inspection, I know it's not always done here by most of the guys, but you're supposed to run a certain amount of water into the system and then see what happens on the drain field side. It's not always perfect, because if that house, say it sat for a year and that drain field hadn't seen water in a year, it's going to take whatever water you want to send in it. But then, a family of 4 moves in, and normal everyday use, that drain field may fail even after that test. So,
all right,
Interesting.
So that's it. It's basically running water. You empty all the solids and everything else. You pump it, and then you fill it, see where it goes, and see how it holds. Right.
Yeah, you would add the water first. Just kind of sit there.
Okay.
They sell a thing that goes on the end of a water hose that counts the gallons. You can use
cool.
that. That way, I put 300 gallons in here, and it took it or it didn't take it. Then you pump it out, clean it. I do know some guys in Oklahoma that they actually put a dye into the septic, and then they go out into the yard and try to find it leaking or whatever. It's a green dye. I don't know anybody that uses it here, but it's a really good way to test it, especially if it was a pump system.
Right.
Because a lot of times that's where it fails on a pump system, is it blows out in different spots in the yard.
Right.
Do you guys have like dry wells or anything down there, or is it just all septic?
It's all septic, pretty much.
All septic. Yeah.
Yeah.
No more dry wells.
Yeah, those are going.
Septic here in Florida right now is a very, very touchy subject. We have the aquifer, and we had red tide hit, algae bloom in the rivers, and they blamed it all on septic. So
Really,
they wrote a bill trying to shut us all down.
wow.
I don't believe that, dude. It's fertilizer. It's lawns. It's the golf courses. It's places like that. It's the townhouse.
Well, it's also, we have in St. Pete, their city sewer plant, like once or twice or once every couple years or something like that, they dump millions of gallons into the bay over there of raw sewage. So it has to be hard. I mean, I don't know who wrote the bill and decided to blame septic, but they did.
Ugh.
And there's all kinds of stuff happening right now with septic in Florida, which honestly, in the end, it'll probably be for the better, because there's a lot of Florida, like I said, just our health departments and stuff, they just, there's a lot of bad people that get away with a lot here and are still able to be contractors. So honestly, it'd probably be for the better in the end, because the harder they make it, the harder it is for those bad contractors to stay in business.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we feel the same way around here too.
Yeah. Right.
So how does somebody know, or is there any like telltale signs in the beginning of, you should probably get your septic pumped? What would a homeowner see, hear, smell?
Smelling it. It's coming through your laundry. You smell it through your laundry. That's when I know it's time.
I would say first sign is the gurgling in your toilet.
Okay.
I would say that's the sign that everyone ignores first. They just
Yeah.
kind of, whatever. Then it happens again. And they start paying attention. But by that time, it's already coming up in the shower or whatnot. So,
okay.
but I would say gurgling, a wet spot in the yard.
Yeah.
They always say the grass is green over the septic tank, but it's not supposed to be. That septic tank's
that's
sealed.
what we said too. Yeah. You're not supposed to be able to see the green grass there.
No, there's a problem if water's sitting enough to make the grass green.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely.
But I would say gurgling is the number one sign.
Okay.
If you because the gurgling is actually the tank filling up more than it should and pushing air back through the line. Yeah. That's where that gurgle in the toilet pops up.
Yep. Very interesting.
Learned a lot today.
I did too. That's why we had to do part 2 of our septic series.
That's right.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I got no more questions. I think I got what I needed to hear.
Yeah. Tell us about your YouTube channel.
Oh man, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It keeps things interesting on the job.
Yeah.
It's just I like talking. I actually used to do a podcast, not about septic, but about something else. It got pretty popular, and then me and the other guy decided to go different ways.
Too bad.
And so the YouTube thing is just kind of me going off of that. I really, really enjoy the editing of the video and all that stuff. And the more, it gets like 100 views of video, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's just enough. Like every once in a while, I'll get a message from some guy that's trying to get into septic in some other state and ask me questions. So it's cool. It's just
that is cool.
Another part of all this.
Yeah.
Great, man.
Yeah. That's why we do our podcast. We're home remodelers up here. So it gets a little mundane, and it's kind of nice just to talk to different people from different parts of the country, and we enjoy it. We have fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah. So keep up the good work too for your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So, thanks. And that's you. It's the landscaping. What is it?
What's the name of the channel?
Yeah, what's the name of the channel?
It's Lakeland Septic Company.
Yeah,
Lakeland Septic.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So
I'll be watching you, Josh.
Search
it. Check it out. It's fun. Sometimes I put out a little more information than I probably should about certain jobs and things like that, but I don't think customers are watching it. I think it's mostly other contractors, other places.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Or, somebody's got a question, they Google it, and somehow they end up at your YouTube channel too. So,
well, that was definitely why I started it in the first place. Marketing is my thing. So,
well, how does your dad feel about that? What's all this mumbo jumbo YouTube thing? Gee.
I don't think I don't know if he's watching it or not. He's not like that though. He knows I'm a marketing genius.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. One day I'm gonna get him out of this too. So
really,
buy his company out. That's the goal.
All right.
Have both.
Very cool. I'm sure you can do it.
Daddy, you just sitting at lunch here. I got it from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want him to do. That's the goal.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Very cool. Hey, Josh, it was really great having you on the show. Really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, sir. It was fun. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man.
All right, Jimmy. I think we're done with our septic series.
Yeah, I think we are
too.
I
don't know what we're doing next week.
I don't know. We're going to stir the pot some more.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. Join us next week.
Yep.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.